What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, party people out there in the space? It's time for another episode of Timeout, and this one we are reviewing a video entitled Why? Why are men going their own way? And this woman seems to have some ideas about why men are going their own way. I always think it's very interesting when I hear women talk about why men are going their own way, as if they know. But let's hear what she has to say, shall we? Oh, nope, that's not it. It's this one. There we go. All right, let's get it.
Some men on another try. Go your own way. Let me go my own way. A woman needs a man just as much as a fish needs a bicycle. We all know that what a man can do, a woman can do it a million times better. What is
So she basically, I know it's kind of hard to understand her for some people, but she said a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. And so basically, she's saying that a woman doesn't need a man. But I think I saw on her hand, it looked like a ring on her finger. Let me look again.
a woman can do it a million times.
Yep. See, there's a ring right there, and she's saying that whatever a man can do, a woman can do it a million times better. I would like to hear some of those examples. Let's continue.
What is the big deal here? Tell me, what is the big deal? This is not a joke. It is not a prank. It is as real as real. Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited to be here once again. If this is your first time of seeing this beautiful face, my name is Trisha King. I make videos around fashion, beauty, and anything else that I find interesting, like the one that we're going to be talking about today. And to all my returning friends, hi, hello, hola. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. From the intro, you can see that today's video is a sensitive and a very hot one. It's a hot topic.
It's definitely a sensitive topic, definitely a hot topic. Yeah.
Pressing button. I want you to leave your comments, your opinion in a very respectful manner. Just follow the
Or you're going to get my comments and opinions, lady. You're going to get them.
YouTube community guidelines, okay? Do not use insultive words, so we can just talk about it, okay? So the men have decided to leave us. Yes, women, the men are leaving us. This is not a joke, like I said. It is not a prank.
So I don't think she is married. Well, she's got the big ring on her finger, but she's talking about the men are deciding to leave us. She's making this video. In the title, she put feminism. So is she a feminist? Sounds kind of like it.
What's happening is there is this movement called the MGTOW, whatever it's called. They are an organization of men who have decided to leave. Well, let me just say who have decided. It's a bigger concept. I'm just going to narrow it down a little bit because it's a very big concept. So basically, the men are asking for freedom. They're asking to live their lives without women. Okay, so things like no more marriages, no more children, replacing long-term relationships for short-term relationships, which I think that's selfishness. But
it's not selfish. It's a lot of it's self-preservation is what it is. It's not selfishness. It's selfish to think that a man is supposed to do everything for you, but you're not supposed to reciprocate any of the things that he needs. It's important to let someone know what you need. It's important for women to let men know what it is that they need. But when men let women know what it is that we need and we desire, women have no desire to give us those things. So this is why the movement has started.
About the facts that affects us as women. I'll give you my opinion at the end, okay? I'm not going to say anything now until I bring my point.
You've already said enough.
Okay, so no more marriages, no more children, replacing long-term relationships for short-term relationships. The first time I heard this, I came across this MGTOW movement. I felt like, oh hell no! I felt like screaming loud, like going ahead to say things that went nice to them. But then I kind of figured out that every action leads to a reaction. So something must have triggered this decision of theirs. So
there it is. I'm curious to hear what she has to say. Before I hit it with the
time out, crackheads.
So, see, I'm curious to hear, what Rasputia has to say about this. Rasputia in the house again, y'all.
Rest of MGTOW stands for men going their own way. MGTOW. So I began to think, what could have caused them to think this way or come up with this whole idea? Mind you, this has been in existence. Okay, it's not just entirely new. So the first thing that I began to do my research, and I found that this whole idea of men wanting to be free, wanting to have the freedom to do their own thing, wanting to have the power to fly like a bird and not be hindered by feminine ideas is something that has been going on. You all know that there's been a battle between men and the women for some time now. Now let's go back, let's rewind to the past, to the old times when you said you were a man, you actually were a man. We could feel that you were a man. Their leadership role, they stand out as role models to their children. They take the plunge, move ahead of the women and make sure that the women are comfortable. For me as an African, this takes my mind back to this movie. I don't know how many of you know it. If you are African, somehow you would know about this movie, Things Fall Apart. Actually, it was a book written by Chinua Achebe, and then it was acted out in a movie.
So I haven't seen that movie, but I will answer to you why you may feel like men are not the same. And I'm not saying all the men are not the same. Maybe some of them aren't, but it's widely known that 80% of single parent homes are ran by mothers. So if 80% of the single parent homes are ran by mothers, and you don't like the men that are being produced these days, who is producing the men? I'm listening. I'm waiting. Yeah, exactly. The same men that you're complaining about are the women who are raising these men. So if your aunt or your mother or your grandmother raised the men that you are trying to get, and you're saying that the men are no good, or the men that they don't lead, or whatever it is the problem that you have with them, then you have to take onus on the parents. The parents are supposed to take the blame, take the knock for how the child turns out. So that's the problem. If you're raising weak men, or they like to call them beta males, then the women are raising those beta males. It's on the women. Again, it's still on the ladies.
Feel that manly thing there, where the men took pride in going out to fend for their family. They would go to the farm, plant, harvest, sell, and just take care of their family. They had that joy, that pride in doing so. All the woman did was stay at home, bear children, raise these children, and everybody was happy. There were no problems at all. This was the time when women called their husbands my lord. This was a time when they knelt down to serve his meal. But with this feminist ideology, if you like, don't can take your food from the kitchen, who cares? Woman now thinks, I don't need you anymore, man. I can do everything myself. I mean, this power tussle is just overwhelming. They think that they can do 2 million times more than the man can do. They're in high positions, they're in high authorities, they are becoming presidents, they are taking up careers and all that. So they just think, what do we need a man for anyway? We all know that if it's for childbearing, you don't even need the physical contact of a man to have a child these days. And to the other one, which is...
Well, you do need a physical contact of a man unless you have a certain amount of money to do the artificial insemination. Not everyone can afford that. So it's not like that's readily available at Planned Parenthood. Any woman can just walk in there and just get some seed thrown up inside her. That costs a little bit of money. It costs more money than most women have to make. So it not everybody can do that. So yeah, most women, and when I say most, I mean 90% plus, need a man in order to conceive a child.
Doing the do. Women know how to, go about getting stuff to help them out in that area. So it's now like, what is the big deal? I don't need a man. I need a man just as much as a fish needs a bicycle. Apparently, I don't need a man. That's what that means. So for this reason, the men are thinking, okay, since you don't need us anymore, we're the bad eggs of the society, we're the ones that cause a lot of trouble, go your own way. Let me go my own way. Oh, Barry, is there a matter with that one? That is the whole idea of this movement.
See, and that's another thing right there too. Like, there are some bad ones. There are some bad men, and then there are bad women. It's not fair for men to say that all women are bad. It's not fair. It's not fair for women to say all men are bad. The problem with women saying that all men are bad and treating all men like they're the bad ones is that you end up offending the good ones, and the good ones won't come to your honor or come to your defense. A lot of times you'll see in movies, or you see it caught on videos, some woman is being accosted by a man or being followed by a man, but there's always 3, 4, 5, 10 good ones that come to her aid to try to save her from the bad ones. It happens a lot because we know that there are bad ones, and these guys will even put themselves in harm's way. They'll put themselves in danger to save a woman that they don't even know. I've seen it all the time. I've done it myself. I've put myself in harm's way to save a woman I didn't know from a guy that she felt was being creepy. I've done it. A lot of guys will do it. But when you paint us all with that same brush of being a bad guy and that we're all out to get you, then you're going to lose the support and the help of the good guys. And that's what you don't want. You don't want to offend the good ones.
The MGTOW. Okay, so I want you to leave your opinion. What do you think? I think the men are not just happy that things are going the way they are going. So that's why they don't want anything to do with women. They feel like for you to be a single man is more successful for you than being a married man.
That's true.
I had a conversation with my husband about this topic, and there was one point he made. I kind of like think that this is more of a Western thing than an African cultural thing. For instance, in the Western world, a man and a woman gets married, okay? And then for some reason, things don't work out, and yeah, there comes a divorce. Why would you divide the property into 2 equal halves, 50-50? Whether or not the wife has provided that much for the family. And the argument here is, obviously, the women stay at home, the women look after the children, which is understandable. But mind you, even where there are no children involved, the court of law would also, favor the woman in certain circumstances. So this is what's happening. The men feel like they're not being treated fairly. That's true. For this reason, they would like to go their own way. I heard a story of how this movement has become so popular that they are not even looking towards the side of women anymore. I read an article where this guy says he finished work, came out of his office, driving to the car park, sees a woman crying. If it was before, he would go over to her and say, "Oh, sorry, what's the problem? You okay?" But he didn't. He just entered his car, drove off.
That's true. That's very true. These days, it's gotten to that point sometimes where you can't even ask a random woman, "Can I help you with something? What do you need?" Because a lot of them will tell you, "I don't need a man." And then now we're at this point where it doesn't. How does it benefit us? How does it help us to help you? That's the problem. So I understand why the guy would just get in his car and keep walking. I'm not proud to say it myself, but I've seen women struggle with something before, and I was like, I'm not gonna approach her. A couple times it was dark. We're in the parking lot. It's dark. She's trying to get something out of a shopping cart into her car, and I'm not gonna approach her because she doesn't know me. And we've gone this far in today's society where even the good guys are looked at as bad guys, and it's not cool. So I'd rather just let her handle it herself.
Because he didn't want a situation where he'll walk up to the woman and then there'll be a problem of accusations of molestation.
Yeah.
There's another story of a man who didn't let a woman come into his house to use his washroom, the restroom, just because of fear of being accused wrongly.
Right.
So that's the problem now. Like, the men have had it here and they do not want to have anything to do with you women. So what do you think? Personally, I'm not of, I mean, if you're a feminist, just hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. If you're a feminist, I'm not in that group of feminism, because I feel like what makes life interesting is the basics, the way things were founded from time immemorial. You know, where the man was the leader, where the man was the head. I'm not saying that women shouldn't go out to become who they want to become, or go out to be
right,
prosperous, adventurous,
yes,
to be who they are, to be voices of the society.
Absolutely.
But what I think is that the women should also remember that there is something called a hierarchy, and that a man should always take that place. This is what I think. This is what I definitely think. So if you're a feminist, I'm sorry, I'm not in that category at all. Okay, so, and let me say something to the men.
Before she says something to the men, yeah, I do believe that there's a hierarchy everywhere. Everywhere you go in the military, there's a hierarchy. In every job you've ever worked at, there's a hierarchy. In sports, there's a hierarchy. You think LeBron James is on the same level as some of the guys that don't play, that sit on the bench? Like, there's a hierarchy. Tom Brady is above like Leonard Fournette. I know you guys probably don't know who that is, but the point is that there are people and organizations all the time where there's hierarchies, and those hierarchies exist for a reason. It just makes things easier. Two people can't drive a car. Only one person can do that. So there's no equality. Equality doesn't exist. Only one person can do that. So there has to be a head of the household. That's why it's on taxes, right? When you file your taxes, it says head of household. Who's in charge, right? It's supposed to be that way.
Have decided to go their own way. Just take a moment to think. Take a chill pill and think. If your dad had decided to go his own way, would you have been here today to go your own way? No, you wouldn't have been here.
They might have been here. It doesn't mean that the guys who are going their own way are not having sex with women. That doesn't mean that. It just means that I'm not going to make a commitment.
I mean, in as much as I understand your pain, in as much as I understand your feeling, it just feels like you're shying away from your responsibility by this decision. I mean, you have a right to do whatever you like, but I feel like you are shying away from your responsibility. You know, men should be men. Men should take on their roles in the society as leaders. Some men are on another try. You see what's happening right now? Society has totally gone chaotic. You see what's happening with the way some men behave, with the way, I mean, I really don't know what much to say about this, but I do not think that it's all right.
No, I don't think it's all right either. I'm not opposed to some of the guys going their own way. Women, you gotta stop treating us like we're second class citizens. You know, stop complaining about everything. Just because you can complain doesn't mean you should. You know, I heard a good analogy before. There are three things you should ask yourself before you bring something to a man. You should think to yourself, ask yourself, question number one: does this need to be said? And number two is, does it need to be said by me? You need to ask yourself that. Does this need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And then the third one is, does it need to be said right now? So, and there's a time and a place for everything. And just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you need to exercise it. So we are human too. We have feelings, we have needs, we have wants, and we need to be treated accordingly. So love us, treat us well, and we will love you and treat you well. The woman in my life I would die for, because she treats me well. So remember that, ladies, when we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, just treat them well. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Time Out. Once again, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell now, and you'll see my floating head again in the future. Deuces, everybody.